going to be painful on your ears. And I told you twice. All right, let's try it. Let's start it again. In my attempt not to violate copyright. Well, I told you once and I told you twice, but you never listened to my advice. You don't try very hard to please me with what you know it should be easy. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. I'm sorry, girl, but I can't stay feeling like I do today. It's too much pain and too much sorrow. Guess I'll feel the same tomorrow. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. Pretty bad, huh? Now it's a Kiefer solo. Well, this could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. Well, I told you once and I told you twice that someone will have to pay the price. But here's a chance to change your mind. 'Cause I'll be gone a long, long time. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. No. Last time, baby. I don't know. 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 It's never quite as good as you remember the song the first years of your life listening to it. Conway Twitty. Conway! Conway! I didn't sign in, so let me do it so I can give you the quotes. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. This could be the last time. This could be mic. So that means if that's because I hit it. I know why, because I hit it. So let me see if it's here still. I told you twice. Somebody's gonna have to pay the price. Is it Tom De Niro? Is it Tom De Niro? I don't know. Oh no. All right, everybody. Um, this is where we are. There's a couple of people, one person I didn't add, or I have two different numbers for her, so I didn't change it. I'll have to check if she's on today. 6,150,874 shares. 6,150,874 shares of Railtown. 4%. 4.3%. Do you know that makes us the largest institutional slash group, whatever you want to call us, holder of Railtown that we know about at this point. It'll change. It'll change. All right, so let's get started. Let me turn that off if I can find the clicker, which I can't find. It's a slow day for me. It's hot out. I didn't sleep well. And there we go. This noise is gone, but it's cool in here. Hey, Steve. Let's just go through the quick prices, and then we'll try to do some looking. So Railtown right now is 58.73, and they're doing their best to tell you it's not going up, to tell you, oh, Tone Hun is right, but just hang in there. Use this sell-off as a opportunity to buy, and don't look back. These are devils, not men, but they fill the burning sand with water. Don't listen to him, Dan. He's a devil, not a man. And he fills the burning sands with water. Cool, clear water. All right, so Finger is up to 198.5. It's down from 350 just 3 weeks ago, where we could have sold it and bought Railtown at 30 cents. But we are where we are. This is one lesson of the market. You have to constantly make new decisions. You can't look backwards. You can't regret that, hey, I could have bought more. All you can do is what you can do now. And all I can sort of hammer home, this is as inexpensively as you can buy Railtown now. And soon, I don't know when, it may be the last time to be able to buy Railtown under $1.20. So rather than hesitate, I guess it's time to what's the rhyme? Rather than hesitate, it's time to accumulate. How's that? It's time to accumulate. GBUX is down 24 cents. And my understanding is the big buyers coming in yesterday, this week's going to run dividend. They're doing it right. That one's going. It's going to squeeze. It's going to run. Well, yesterday, one pattern you'll notice in all these stocks, and there is an investor that takes advantage of this. I think she's very smart. I've never spoken to her. But I think every time there's a groundswell of buying, she ignores the big rosy promise, and she just sells into the rally every single time. If we had done that, we'd be sitting on a pot of gold. But yeah, they play us like a drum. They play us like a guitar. They play us for the fool. And I'm telling you, I want you to get out of that. I want you to get out of that, and we're going to do it together. Tesla is up $8. Apparently, Tesla is, and probably why that guy's so cocky, Tesla's taxi cabs, not yet, but they're going to put Uber out of business. They're going to put drivers out of the business. So this is good. Just imagine, I don't know what you guys do for a living, but this investment in Railtown is one way. You know, it's speculative, so we have to acknowledge that things might not all turn out exactly the way we think. But I think Railtown is an investment that, whether you're in a job that's going to be made obsolete by AI 2.0 or is going to be cheapened, you know, so that your ability to drive a higher wage or a higher salary disappears, Railtown protects you against that. Many of you, by the way, I'll put the name out for the one. There's two people. There's a guy named Lawrence. I don't know if it's Lawrence Davina, who has 12,500 shares. I don't know if there's two Lawrences or just one. And then there's PJ 135. I don't know if she has 15,000 shares or 65,000 shares or 50,000 shares. So anyway, those are two that I need to clarify and adjust the numbers on. But anyway, I think if you have even 10,000 shares of Railtown, which is a lot, by the way, and it's getting more and more expensive as we talk. It's now, to get 10,000 shares is now 50 grand, sorry, 5 grand, 66 grand. I'm thinking of 100,000. So it's 6 grand now to buy 10,000 Railtown. But I believe 10,000 Railtown will be worth 60 grand in the next few weeks, within the next few weeks. And possibly it's getting a little, that's pushing it a little now, my comfort zone. But over the next 18 months, I think the stock could be between $30, $35, $80, $85 over 18 months, 2 years, you know. So 60's sort of at the high end there, but I think it's quite feasible that 10,000 shares becomes $600,000 if you're willing to wait and just hold it and not get distracted. Frank Benedetto's coming in. Oh, I bought 100,000 shares. Really? I doubt it. Or he sold, it's from a stock that he pumped to you and sold. Remember, Frank Benedetto brought you 3 companies that he got paid in shares. They're all worthless. But do you think he still owns those shares? One of them, COSM. So now he's coming in, he wants to be your friend. And the whole thing is make friends and switch. Right now, this 6 million, At $10, we got $60 million. Frank Benedetto wants that for his next 2 or 3 CEOs, so Frank can get paid. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about you. Neither does Borders. Neither does Denaro. Neither does. They don't care. Those 3 guys, I guess, aren't Jewish, so it breaks down my belief that everybody in the game meets each other at temples, so that disproves that theory. But if I were a CEO and I'm considering taking a banking deal, and the lawyer and the finance guy and the first investor and the second investor from overseas are all Jewish, I'd go, wait a minute. Am I, particularly since I'm Gentile, and it says Gentile across my forehead, I'd go, wait a minute. Am I being set up here? Just like if a handful of Nigerian princes came into my office. You gotta have your eyes open. Oh, you can't be anti-Semitic. Oh, look what happened to us 90 years ago. Oh, come on. Come on. That's just to get you distracted. You got it with making money and the market and love, unfortunately. You can question my track record maybe in both. You just got to focus on try as best to figure out what the facts are, what's the trend, it's so hot in here. Just give me 5 minutes with that, I'll turn it off. What's the momentum, those kind of things. But I'll tell you one thing, these guys are good at what they do. They're good at cajoling, sounding intelligence. They're not intelligent. These losers would be in the corner. Their desk would start in the middle of the office, maybe a window, and by the time 6 to 18 months have gone by, their desk would be moved closer and closer to the stairwell or the elevator. They'd be on their way out. They can't make it on Wall Street. They can't make it. I just want you to get away from them. Railtown is a stock. If you own it, set it and forget it. Get it right. Sit tight. Establish your position and play crosswords for the next 18 months. Or golf. Or watch football. Or whatever you want to do. Did I tell you we have 6,150,874 shares? Did I tell you that? Did I tell you we're at 4.3% of the Yahoo number? If we use the lower number, we're probably 4.5, 4.6. 4.3%. You guys are big. You guys are big. Who's better than you? Nobody. All right. That got to cool down a little bit. So GBUX is down to $2. Man, I'd run over there, hop on board. Fingers 198. Oh boy, I'd run over and hop on board. I'm telling you, there's only one decision to make today. Only one today. There is no other stock. There is no other case. This is the only case. There is no other case. This is the only case. And then this one, Wolf, 272, it's up 41. It was up over $3. Guys, remember this about Lion of all trades. He brought you a stock that declared Chapter 11. Wolf, WOF. It's worked. It's worked. He mentioned it here to distract you at 40, 50 cents because he wants you to think he's got good ideas so you can take this money that you're going to have, this wealth you're going to have from Railtown and go play in his casino. Please resist it. Just because his idea worked. He obviously had inside information, or he was close to this. I don't know. But when a company declares with massive debt, declares Chapter 11 and goes up, it's insanity. It's insanity. Shareholders get wiped out. This going to $3, if you own WOLF, sell it. Buy Railtown. Get the hell out. Say, hey, I got lucky. It's just like going into play craps because someone said, hey, it's fun. And you're standing there rolling the dice. And a girl comes up and says, hi, I'm Plenty. And you look down at her dress, her top, and you say, but of course you are. Plenty O'Toole. Named after your father, perhaps? You could win, but it's just gambling the next time you lose. Ignore all this. We are going to have to train ourselves like a diet to be in Railtown as our accounts grow. They're not coming back. They're not coming back, at least not right now. It might go to, it might get overpriced and then pull back, but it's not overpriced now. Nowhere near it. All right, let's see what else is out there to check out. This is another one. GTII is 18 cents. I wish I could sell mine, but you got to sell that. The market cap of GTII is $44 million. The market cap of Railtown now is $61 million. Which would you rather own? The B or the wannabe? I think you should own the B, not the wannabe. 0.5911 by 0.6006. There's 59,000 to buy. And that's starting to ping pong on the bid too. So they're playing a lot of games here. The stock, let me just check on the Canadian. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. This could be the last time. This could be the last time. Maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh no. I can't seem to get the right. Every time I think I have the right symbol, it gives me something else. There it is. All right, so in Canada, it's 81 cents. The volume in Canada is 500 million shares. We're not moving this stock. And woe be it to Tony Hun and his friends. They can't stop this train. They can't stop this train. All right, let me go down the list. I want to check what people have. Hey, Gary. Gary, I hate to say it. You were first in our hearts, but Steve beat you by just a second. Hey, Steve. Hey, Ted Williams. Hey, John, sunny California. Well, it's sunny here, but it's bloody hot, mate. Bloody hot and muggy. I hate the muggy part. But the birds are singing, and whoever invented air conditioning, that's got to be in the top 3 of the best inventions of all time. The jet engine, air conditioning, and contact lenses. And maybe you have something in the top 3, but those are 3 great inventions. Hey, Chestnut. Hey, Danielle. he's making fun of me, I think. Got my name painted on my shirt. I ain't no ordinary dude. I don't have to work. I don't have to work. Well, one thing, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's like the heist movies where they say, don't spend your money, live like you're living for 2 years. Do that in your case. You're a young man. You don't realize it, but you're a very young man. And I would try to keep my job for a while. Why? Because I think here's the path for Railtown in general. I think it's going to kind of walk its way up over the next weeks to the institutional, let's say the Merrill Lynch rule level. It'll walk its way up to $5. Then all of a sudden, buying's going to come in that has nothing to do with the shorts won't be able to stop it. Let me put it that way. Institutions will start buying funds, and you could see it go from $5, $6. You can see it go to $10 to $12 in a gulp. What happened? And we'll see what happens. But you're going to see a lot of big money come in my judgment. That might be in September or October. Don't know. But it's going to be when Wall Street raises all this money for AI 2.0. And they got to put it somewhere. There's going to be a panic. They're just human being too. There's going to be scrambles to buy the best AI companies for their portfolios rather than let Merrill Lynch get it. Goldman's going to want it. It's just how it's going to be. So there'll be buying. And but then it'll reach some point. I don't know if it's that level. It might be 20. I don't know. We'll find that out. I'm not making those calls. The only call I'm making right now is you're going to see 10x from here soon. It's the only call I'm making. You can define soon. You can define 10x in a give or take window, but it's coming, in my judgment. When it gets up there in the bigger numbers, there may be times when it stalls or it pulls back a little while, or there's a lull, or the overall market corrects. So I'd really like it, Steve, if you didn't quit your job, because I think you've got to have a goal of hanging on to Railtown for, let's say, 3 years. I'm not telling people if you want to get over there and trade with Lion of all trades and lose your money, or if you want to trade with Frank Benedetto, he'll say the stock will run up like COSM, and then it crashes. But he's gotten out of his stock, guarantee you that. And he'll say, "Oh, you didn't get out? You got to do your own due diligence. Hey, it was up. Why didn't you get out? Things changed." It's not friendly waters. Let them have their little marketplace, but they come in, frankly, I think Lou built an audience. I think Ham had some listeners. Who knows? Did I build an audience? But I'll tell you one thing. Frank Benedetto didn't build an audience. Dan Borders didn't build an audience. Lion of All Crate has a small audience. I would say that Busy Brands and Junk Savvy built an audience. De Niro didn't build an audience. They're all coming in as parasites to suck your money out. Don't let them do it. And don't get yourself, Steve, in a position where you don't have cash flow so you can ride out volatility. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think you have to work much longer, but don't put yourself in a position where you start spending your money, spending it on margin, and then there's a 6-week, 8-week period where the stock's down 30% or 40%, and then you've got a margin call, or you've got to sell stock just in that blood in the streets moment, and you get it taken away from you. Don't do it. Keep your strength, keep your independence, keep that paycheck coming until Railtown is purchased by, I don't know, Microsoft, AMD, NVIDIA. Those are their partners. Maybe it's Apple. There's rumors out there that Apple's seeking outside AI help. Maybe Railtown's part of that solution. Who knows? I don't think it'd be the only solution, but part of it maybe. So Railtown's 81 cents in Canada. Here in the US of A, it is 59.21 bid. 60,008 is the offer. It's all spoofing. Adina Friedman, Robert Cook, Atkins, Chuck E. Cheese Cromwell, they all don't care. They all don't care. This is criminal, but they won't do anything about it. Why? Because these people work for, in some ways, quite literally, at arm's length for people like Steve Cohen or Ken Griffin or Goldman Sachs. In other ways, it's just a look the other way river of money that Wall Street doesn't want to give up on. All right, 60 cents bid. I think they're talking to each other because it's a weird number. Oh, somebody got it. Good. So maybe it's one of you. Somebody bought 3,458 shares at 60 cents. Somebody bought 3,000 shares at 60 cents. Bravo. Somebody bought 20,000 shares at 60 cents. Bravo. Bravo, bravissimo. No, bravo. No, bravo. Bravissimo. And just to be clear, I don't think you should be holding on any of the stocks that, whether it's my ideas, other people's ideas, clean out your cupboard, sell everything. If you can just do it and buy Railtown is my strategy of today. I don't know how many more days we're going to have. I'm shocked. Every morning I wake up at like 6 a.m. and I go, all right, it's got to be today. They're gonna finish that deal. You know, I was wrong all through June. I could be wrong through a week or two of July. I don't think it's gonna go into August because the poor dears on Wall Street, they need their holiday. They need their August holiday. They need to summer in south of France. They add so much value to our society. They really do. I mean, it's amazing. The jobs, the new inventions, the taxes they pay. Bastards. All right, let's keep going. Good morning, Rondell. John wants to know if your brokerage firm has received the dividend. John wants to know if your brokerage firm has been able to distribute 5x number of warrants when they only have 1x at the transfer agent. But I doubt you're going to see it, but you can keep asking. I think what you're going to see is just like MMTLP, just like GTII, it's just going to be a dodge and weave, install and lie and prevaricate. Both? Yeah, both of those. Bob Dylan. Conway Twitty. How am I doing? Well, I guess I'm doing fine. It's been so long now. It seems like it was just the other day. Ain't it funny how time slips away? Well, hello there. Wow, 109, you're going to be a rich man. That's great. Thank you for letting me know. Does anyone know why we don't have our dividends yet? All of your shares of GBUX, wherever you've purchased them, are held in Type 2. It's called street name. So they're not held in John Quasson's name. They're held in the name of Fidelity or E-Trade or Ameritrade. So when GBUX distributes the warrant as a dividend, it goes to the transfer agent. The transfer agent sends it to the shareholder of record. The shareholder of record is Ameritrade, not John Quasson or Crossan, or Crossan, I guess. So Ameritrade gets the distribution, and they've had it since Monday. But then they have a decision to make, not at the prime broker level, not at the lying attorneys level, not at the salesmen who need the commission level. Ameritrade has to make a decision at the compliance level, at the people that don't lie level. Hey, wait a minute. How do we distribute 1.5 million warrants as a dividend when we've only got 100,000 in our name at the transfer agent? How do we do that? Do we just give John his first and damn everybody else? Or why don't we just think about it? Let's put it before a committee. We've got to have a meeting, all hands. We'll meet Friday morning by telephone. Sarah, you bring your files. Beverly, I'd like to see the list of the trades if you can get them. And then Jeffrey, if you can figure out if any of the open transactions are going to close out, what's going on here? And then they have their meeting. They put it up to regional, put it up to national. And all along the way, they know they can't fix this problem. Warrants don't trade. It's already past the record date. So how do they fix it? There is no solution to it. they don't own enough dividends to distribute them. So they don't distribute them. Well, eventually they'll come up with the answer. Let's just put a CUSIP number in everybody's account. It just the number. And when they call in, I don't even know if these shares are free to trade yet, but certainly there's a strike price. When they call in, it was what was happening with finger motion before Frank Benedetto popped the bubble. Remember, he's not your friend. Let's wait till they start calling in. Let's wait till it is a problem, and we'll handle it 5% of the audience, 10%, 20% of the audience at a time. So I don't remember what the strike price is here, but let's say that in 2 months, GBUX is at $20 and people start calling in. Well, then Ameritrade has a decision to make. Do we stall? Do we say, well, you have to fill out this paperwork? Do we say, well, they're being held at the company, you have to call the company? Do we just create a smoke screen? Or do we tell people, oh, you want to exercise? Well, that's going to take it's going to take at least 15 days, but fill out this paperwork, we'll process it, and then, well, I want to sell my shares. All right, what price do you want? Well, I don't know what it's going to be in 2 weeks. Well, we'll call you. 2 weeks go by, they call you and they say, John, do you want to sell your shares? We have a bid. We'll convert it. You've filled out all the paperwork. We'll convert it. What price? Well, then they go out and they sell stock that doesn't exist, or they buy stock that doesn't exist. They sell it, and then it becomes simply, John, a matter of giving you cash, which is all they think they have to do, is give you a black and white value in your account and then give you cash. They are creating a fractional reserve security system. It's clumsy because shares and warrants are not fungible. Like the banking system, dollars are fungible. But as long as when you want to sell it, they absorb the loss, if there's a loss, and give you cash, Bob's your uncle. That's all they're doing. They're stalling for time. They're stalling for time. And if you're surprised by it, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because I think the whole point of issuing this warrant as a dividend is to gum up the system and maybe cause a short squeeze. But the problem I have with that is I guess I put it over there, is Dr. Suzanne Trimbath, or I guess it doesn't hurt to go over it again. It just doesn't register. Nothing registers. Because we're human. It's very difficult to accept that our system is not the way we think it is. Very difficult to accept that. The system is set up for a handful of bankers. That's it. Just like our foreign policy is set up for Israel. That's why we're increasing the war in the Ukraine, for Israel. That's why we bombed 7 countries in now 20 years, for Israel. That's why we spent trillions of dollars and blood and injury All for Israel. Is it worth it? I don't know. I guess it is. People love it. Because if you bring it up, you're an anti-Semite. But it's the same with the banking system. It's all set up for a handful of people. And then if we don't learn our lessons, we just keep feeding them. So according to David Morgan in his letter of April, there's a gentleman named David Rogers Webb who has made a movie, The Great Taking. And according to Webb's research, the global financial system has increasingly engaged in a practice where all securities, stocks, bonds, precious metals, are used as collateral by the world's largest banks. This practice, also known as collateral management, they're managing the situation, is carried on without the explicit knowledge of individual investors or institutional funds. The financial securities are pooled in central depositories like the DTCC. In Europe, it's Euroclear. And then using this system, this methodology, the securities are rehypothecated multiple times. That's the two guys named Vinny and Joey at the stock loan desk lending out shares. Goldman Sachs is a stock loan desk with the name of an investment bank on its doors, according to Patrick Byrne. This creates extensive collateral chains of collateral, which also contribute to the rapid expansion of the derivatives market. Everybody comes with these at the money now offerings. They gave one to Finger, they give the Finger to CEOs. They all have these derivatives in them. It's this shit. But we think somebody's going to do it the right way. We think Israel's honest. Israel's there to because it's a democracy. We got to start believing our eyes and stop believing the lies. This was legally formalized through the 1994 revision of Article 8 of the Uniform Commercial Code in the United States and other changes in Europe. These frameworks effectively transferred ownership of securities to central depositories, stripping investors of direct property rights and putting their assets at risk during a market crisis or default. To legalize this, they revised the UCC Article 8, but this revision introduced the concept of securities entitlements, which replaced, and listen to this, which replaced direct ownership of securities. So you don't own the right to that except via this con job, this that keep the illusion going. The company pays it to where the securities are pooled. And then that pooler has a responsibility to take care of you, but you're down the collateral chain. You're unsecured. It's a matter of if they want to do it. And if you go to court, you can't afford it. If you go to lawyers, you signed an arbitration clause, they're going to say, hell. So you can focus on it. It's just worthless energy, in my opinion. We've learned this lesson, but I guess we got to keep learning it. So the securities entitlements replaced a direct ownership of securities and replaced it with a contractual claim. There is a claim contractually, which allows the depositories to use the securities at their will. Rehypothecation, the practice of reusing pledged collateral to secure multiple obligations, lies at the heart of this schema. When banks engage in derivatives trading, they use securities held at the DTCC. They don't use their own money. It's one of the reasons Benedetto's hired to get you to buy a stock. He probably doesn't know it. He's not a bright man. So when banks engage in derivatives trading, they use securities held at the DTC as collateral without the investor's knowledge. The United States Federal Reserve, which is neither federal or a reserve, acknowledged this in legal documents, explicitly stating that investors, quote, do not have rights attaching to particular securities in the pool, unquote. Do not have rights attaching to particular securities in the pool. Rather, they hold a pro rata claim to the collective securities pool, effectively making them unsecured creditors in the event of default. In other words, the legal and regulatory structures introduced in 1994 under the UCC and in Europe have effectively turned securities ownership into a form of indirect claim. Indirect claim. Rather than having outright ownership, investors are granted a contractual claim that allows financial institutions to prioritize the institution's own interests in using these assets. Anytime anything is contractual, lawyers, time, delay, negotiation, settlement. As it relates to silver, gold, and platinum, if a major financial crisis were to occur, the first rights to the underlying securities would go to the secured creditors. That's the institutions and the other side of the derivative contracts, not to the investors themselves. But you can keep asking the question. You're never going to get a satisfactory answer. You're never going to get a satisfactory answer. And it's just because we all believe in the system. It takes a long time to lose that belief. The U.S. foreign policy for the last 20, 30 years, totally set up for Israel, nothing else. The banking system regulations, totally set up for a handful of men, nothing else. So we can either try to make money within that, we can try to live as a country within our ideals and our constitution, or we can continue to lie to ourselves. And Netanyahu can come to the White House because he needs 20 suitcases full of laundry dry cleaned because he's so cheap, the bastard. And then he can suck up to President Trump, who doesn't seem to know anything about history, and continue the war in the Ukraine, which is just another front of the battle led by Israel in the Middle East and the Mossad, and now against Russia, because the banking system needs more collateral. They want the $90 trillion worth of Soviet assets, just like they always have. And they want the oil in the Middle East from the royal families who can be bribed and cowed and protected in exchange for major debt and I suppose equity in the case of Aramco deals that shifts the ownership and the collateral of that wealth to the Western banks. That is London, New York, primarily. It might include Tokyo, might include Geneva, might include some other Western, but it's mainly the London, New York banks. And we can pretend it's different, but it's not. That's the world we live in. So what our goal has to be, I think, is to become independent of that system, independent of those choices, by becoming our own financial island, if we can. It's going to be hard, but we can do it. We can do it. So it's 59 cents to 60 cents. Not very exciting. Delta Dawn. Delta Doc. What's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say you would be leaving me here today for that mansion in the sky? Yes, buy more, Wall Street Wolfie. Why do you want us to get out of GBUX before we have the dividend warrant in our accounts? You know, it's pretty shocking that the basic education of Wall Street has gotten so lost, because that's how they take advantage of you. But let's go through that. They intentionally keep you ill-informed. But let's just go through it. I mean, I don't think it's your fault. I really don't. I think it's something that your brokerage firm should be making you aware of. Okay, so On May 21, 2025, GiveBucks Inc., a publicly traded super app and charitable giving platform, announces that the ex-dividend date for its previously declared special warrant dividend is set for June 5th. Under the terms of the special warrant dividend, GiveBuck will issue warrants on a 1-for-10 basis, entitling shareholders to purchase 1 share of GiveBuck's common for every 10 shares owned as of June 5th, 2025. Each warrant will be exercisable at $4. So, John, it doesn't matter how many shares of GiveBucks you have in your account today. What matters is how many shares you had in your account as of June 5th, which, now that you mention it, was the day I had to decide. I think it was this dividend that made me decide, pick that day. And I might have hurt myself because it says the dividend is set for June 5th. It doesn't say what the record date is. That's the X date, they say. X dividend date is June 5th. There's 2 things. The record date is when you own the shares and you're on the books. That's the snapshot in time for everyone who gets credited with the warrant. The X date is when the stock trades X without the dividend. I might have misread this. It says here it's X dividend. Let me go see if I can find the filing on this warrant in Edgar. But the short answer to your question, John, it doesn't matter how many shares are in your account today. The record date and the X date happened a month ago. So it's irrelevant how many shares you have. All right, so let me see. Now it's irrelevant. Let me see if this is the dividend. Oh, that's the Charterhouse Financial. Let me do it again. Current report, quarterly report, June 18th, June 9th, quarterly report, annual report. Let me see, 8K. I don't know which one to open. Let's try this one. Okay. On May 21, 2025, the Board of Directors of GBUX formally approved a special dividend package in the form of restricted warrants for all shareholders of common stock holding over 10 shares, entitling those shareholders for 1 warrant for every 10 shares effective as of the close of business June 5th. So I'm not entitled because I sold my GBUX Thursday morning. So I'm not entitled. So if you owned GBUX at the close of business on June 5th, which I did not, so their press release is not correctly written. June 5th is not the ex-dividend date. Friday is probably, with 1-day settlement, Friday's the ex-dividend date. The record date is June 5th. So anyway, exercisable at $4 per share, and it will be immediately exercisable until the close of business June 5, 2026. So you have a year. It will take approximately 30 days to verify all shareholders holding warrants, after which time eligible shareholders will receive an email from the company. So, John, if you're worried about the dividend, which is worthless, don't sell your GBUX. I mean, that's my opinion. You can sell GBUX at 210 right now. I mean, look. No, 199. You can sell GBUX at 199, and every day we delay, you can't buy as many shares of Railtown, but you can buy Railtown at 61 cents. So now you can buy 3.25 shares of Railtown for every share of GBUX. And if you're going to hold on for the dividend, you're trying to hold on. I personally think you're being penny foolish or pound foolish or whatever the word is. But if GBUX soars, 10% of your position will be augmented to the upside in GBUX by a $4 strike price. That's 10%. So one share out of 10, right? If you sell 10 shares of Railtown right now, of GBUX right now, you can buy 32 shares of Railtown. Last week, you could have bought a lot more. The week before, you could have bought a lot more. But anyway, you can buy 32 shares of Railtown. By the time GBUX is at $4, in my opinion, Railtown will be at $4. $5. So if you have 32 shares of Railtown, you have $163. If you have 10 shares of GBUX at 5, you have $50, and your warrant will be worth $1. So you'll have $51 versus 163. That's why I'm saying it. It's all about making money, and if you're playing Mrs. Pac-Man and you're trying to get the last dots before you get eaten, instead of quickly hurrying and gobbling the ghost, I don't know. It's a choice. I think it's a foolish choice, but that's just how I see it. I'm not insulting you. I think the press release was miswritten. It's not ex-dividend date on Thursday, the 5th of June. It started trading ex-dividend Friday, the 6th, but the record date was Thursday, the 5th. At least according to the most recent Edgar filing that I saw. Maybe they changed it. They changed a lot of things at GBUX. So, John, it's going to depend on what shares you have on the 5th. But if you think anyone cares, I guess your argument is what they're going to do when they get around to it is count how many shares of GBUX are in your account on August 1st. That's not the deal. It's how many shares are in your account at the close of business on June 5th, 2025. What's in your account now doesn't matter, but you've had a chance to sell GBUX higher. And maybe your instinct's right. Maybe something inside of your knowledge of GBUX is right. Maybe GBUX is going to go to 5 or 6. But you know what? You'll do that with 1.1 share. If you stay in GBUX, you'll do it with 1.1 share. If you sell GBUX, you're still going to get that 0.1 share. It's worthless as far as I can tell. You'll have 1 share. If you had swapped out a GBUX last week, I think you would have had I don't know, let's just say 4 shares. It might have been 5 shares of Railtown. Today, you have 3 shares of Railtown. You can wait till Friday, and you'll be able to do it 1 for 1. And then it won't make sense anymore, I guess. But Railtown will be worth more and stay worth more than GBUX in the very near future, unless GBUX squeezes. And I think the odds of that are just shy of the odds of Alcaraz losing before he gets to the finals in Wimbledon, because he's got the easiest draw in the history of Wimbledon. I don't know, John. We always cling on to the dreams or the illusions, maybe, of trades we thought would work out, or we hang on to trades we hoped had worked out quickly and haven't, or we hang on because we're just stubborn, we want them to work out. And then we turn down an opportunity to 10x our money. I'm still willing to tell you that Railtown will 10x in the very near term from 60 cents. Could it be $4? Could it be $8? Yeah, sure. But mid-range, 60 cents, $6, sure. You're going to hang out because, I mean, I get you. Maybe you're saying that the system doesn't know how to keep track of shares, and they're only going to give you credit if they can see the shares in there. But that's not how it works, John. You could have purchased, you could have doubled your ownership of GBUX since June 5th, and they don't owe you double. They only owe you what you owned as of close of business, June 5th, 2025. Nothing you do with your account after that point changes a thing. And if you have to prove it, you tell them to pull up your account as of June 25. And in fact, in your case, you can just pull up your last statement. So yes, I am telling people to sell GBUX and put it into Railtown before Railtown's $1.20. But you don't have to. You don't have to. Tebow Teals. Wow. Tebow. That is an impressive. That is a really impressive purchase. I wish I could do that. But I'm glad you did. 142,000. Isn't 142,000 an important number with either the distance to the sun or our globe. Maybe it's our globe. Anyway, 142 is an important number. I'll try to find out for the next time. Hey, Marty Perry, 115, that's awesome. And Marty Party, my eyes still adore you. I used to think that song said, My Eyes of Georgia. Unfortunately, Ham was on here so many times pushing us to buy GBUX. William has sold his GBUX, investing in a bigger, better opportunity. Take your loss, invest in a solid call. Yeah, I don't know. Ham initially mentioned it. He didn't really push it. But yeah, I guess you're right. He came on and was very positive on it. But I also think, I think I don't remember. I think he wanted people to take some money off the table, but I don't remember clearly what happened. GBUX divvy seems to be a farce. Well, it's only a method to try to catch out the system. And I just to clarify where I come down on that, I think since Ham hired Morcus, Bacchus, Cheatham, and Howe to come up with that strategy, I think Wall Street's come up with a way out of it. I don't think that strategy works. It didn't work with MMTLP at all. I mean, we fought it. Nothing's going to happen. And that was a real dividend, not just a warrant. It didn't work with Finger because Finger was squeezing, in my judgment. Fidelity was in trouble. Wells Fargo was in trouble. And Frank Benedetto came over and popped the bubble by saying you need to buy COSM because it's the greatest thing since he looked at his face in the mirror in the morning. I have to remember at 1 o'clock, I'm going to take a quick break. I have to do that. But I can leave you chatting. Why doesn't Ham come on the channel? I don't know. I don't speak for Ham. I don't speak for him. When he went down to Florida to meet the FBI guys, he called me several times. We talked early in the morning, late at night or early in the morning. He had to get up early, take the flight down. And then he called me different times, I suppose, in between meetings or something. I called him right back each time, let it ring. His voice box isn't set up for messages. And then it's possible, I suppose, he had his phone turned off and he didn't recognize that I called, but that's usually he knows. But I returned his calls 3 times, 4 times. And then either Sunday or Monday, he called me, I picked up, or he called me and I called him right back. He picked up, whatever it was. And he said, hey, you've been hard to reach. It was it's over a 2-day period, a 1.5-day period. I said, no, I don't know. I was on the phone or I was in the shower. I called you right back each time. Well, let's do it. Let's see if we can do a live. I'm playing pickleball right now. Let's see what we can do later. I'll call you right after my game. He never called. And next thing I know, he was going live with, I don't know, Giannis or Kristen on Twitter. and he was off and running with Twitter. So I don't know why he doesn't come on here anymore. He was always welcome to. But at this point, I think it was, I don't understand it. And I wouldn't automatically accept him back on the channel because I think it's disrespectful. And but I had no problem. It was his choice. So ask him. I sold my GBUX, took losses. Well, I agree with that, Brandon. Also, the losses will be valuable to you at some point. They had a falling out or divide and conquer. What the hell does that mean? I haven't had a falling out with him. What the hell does divide and conquer mean? Is that you? Is that what you do? You divide and conquer with Tony De Niro and Frank Borders and Lion of All Trades? Is that what you do? Divide and conquer? You can just jump off of you can take a long walk off of a short pier. I get tired of losing money switching from one side. I do too. I don't want you to do that anymore. But John, if you don't want to own Railtown, don't own it. Stick with GBUX. Then you can get tired of losing all your money in GBUX. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. On the other hand, GBUX might be the 1 out of 20 stocks that you're in at the right time, and it squeezes. Railtown isn't a squeeze stock. It's not a hype stock. It's not a meme stock. It's not, although Frank Benedetto is now joining in. But that's because he's strategically going to be there so he can get you to hop into one of his stocks. I want you to exit all these stocks. I don't want to deal with any of these stocks anymore. When I first got in, I was introduced to Ham through a good friend of mine, and I used to think that Ham was onto something. I now think it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all crap. If you want to stay with it, hey, I don't want to sell because I'm tired of moving, don't move. Stick with what you have. I'm not. All I can do is be forceful in saying that now's the time to buy Railtown. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be Monday. I don't know if it'll be July 15th. I don't know if it'll be August 1st. But one of these days, Railtown will conclude its agreement to acquire AI Partners. And John, at that point, you're not going to be able to buy Railtown at 60 cents. I don't know what it'll be right out of the gate, but I think very soon out of the gate, it'll be $6. I'm not telling you to buy it at $6, although I probably will think it's a good buy. I'm telling you to buy it now. At $6, you could argue with me that it's going to come down, but I'm going to tell you institutions will start buying it then. But if you're tired of moving from one to the other, I understand that. I am too. Look, I got into Finger on Ham's talking. It was up. I stayed in Finger because I believed a short squeeze was happening. And then they ran it right back down. I feel like an idiot. In the case of Finger, I ended up losing my entire position and losing a shitload of money because I went and did that bloody video. Where are you? Are you dead? Why aren't you answering? They're waiting for you. Get down to the SEC. They're there. Go, go. So I hustled to get my dog home, hustled to pay my coffee, and in and out of the shower and down to the coffee shop. Nobody was there. Phone calls coming from everywhere, from the woman, from the guy, from Ham, from people that Ham called, from the truck driver. Where are you? Why aren't you here? Why aren't you there? You got to be there for the video. So I went down. Got there at 10 o'clock, 10:15. Nobody's there. I'm sitting around waiting. Then they come. And then we do 4 hours or 3 hours of interview. I buy the coffees, at least some of them. And then we go to the SEC. We do more videos and we hang out there. And then none of them had money. None of them had eaten. So I said, why don't we go over to the Dubliner? I'll buy you lunch. We have lunch. We sit around. Nice people, good group. And we talked about things. By the time I got home, it was 4:15. My account got wiped out because that was option expiration Friday. I should have said, no, I'm not doing it, but I did it. And I don't like looking or thinking about it, but I think I lost well over $125,000 because of that. What happened is I couldn't sell my calls, and I think I can't remember the details, but there's no bid. But they exercised them at a penny. So Monday morning, I had this huge call, in which I met and I sold some things, brought in, and I believe I met the call. But and I was on the phone in, but there was no negotiating. They just sold everything out while finger went down. And of course, finger went up. So I got blown out of my finger position. But it worked for a while. And I thought, well, wow, Ham's onto something. And then I participated in his GTII call. And that went up several times. And then it really went up. After I did a video in front of that law firm. But in the case of GTII, the gains proved to be ephemeral. And it pulled back. I think both Finger and GTII were squeezing until the criminals hired Lou, Frank Benedetto, and COSM's Greek CEO. So if that hadn't worked, they would have done something else. They had Alpine, they had Hurry, anyway, GTII, they brought in a derivatives guy from Chicago. But you're looking at it like it's because you're hopping from one to the other. No, these guys are criminal. This is an all-out assault. And they have every single attack strategy. But in the case of Railtown, their strategies aren't going to work. It's just not going to work. And then I got into CRTD. I met Jeremy Fromner at the thing in DC, the protest or whatever. And then Jeremy was going to be bought out by GTII, and he was going to be the CEO. And instead of $3, he wanted $5. So they said, fuck off. And then CRTD opened at 40 cents, went to 20 cents, and now it's reversed one for 500. So all three of those worked initially, and there's a shareholder out there. She sells everything as it goes up. So the lesson was and is, when these start to run, you've got to sell. But I didn't. So all of those were losses for me. And then I bought MMTLP I think I bought part of it on Tuesday, part of it on Wednesday. Might have bought it all on Wednesday before it stopped trading. at approximately $7.97 a share. And I've been fighting that. And it turns out all four of those are worthless. And then I went up to New York with a friend of mine who had introduced me a while ago to a company called Wayland or something like that, Waymore. And then it converted to Logic, and then it's splitting to Logic and GoLogic. And I met with the CEO twice in New York, Brent's son, and listened to what the strategy was and the investors. And Brent introduced Univest to finger motion. And I thought, wow, there's something here. So I put my remainder into Logic, my largest share position. And Logic, without boring you, it got destroyed by Aubrey Advisors. It got destroyed by the Swiss. It got destroyed by the guy out that speaks 5 languages. And a Collective Audience got destroyed by the same group and possibly by the CEO. But it all got destroyed. So that's all worthless. I'm tired of those. If I could sell, I would, but most of it's unsellable. So, John, the real thing is you don't have confidence in my recommendation to Railtown, which is fine. You don't. I didn't recommend Finger to you, although several times I recommended a trade in Finger. I went strong and then I backed off. What I've learned is unless I'm explicit, nobody knows what the hell I'm saying. So I'm being explicit. Sell all of these crappy stocks and buy Railtown today. I sell GBUX, sell MLSS, sell ZJYL, sell GDC, sell Finger, sell crapola.com, and buy Railtown today. John, that's my recommendation. And if you're tired of losing money, I think this is the best way out. I think I'm not trying to be negative, but had you taken this advice 2 weeks ago, you'd have double the shares of Railtown. I'm not saying that like, hey, you missed out. What I'm saying is if you wait even a day, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I feel like literally, I felt this way 4 weeks ago. I feel like any time, it's going to cost you double. So you could have had double the shares of Railtown 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks from now, you might only have half the number of shares if you act. So let me just be clear, John. I hate moving from effing stock to COSM, to MULN, to Nixie, to any of these stocks. And I want to be clear. I think you should sell them all and buy Railtown. I do not have a contract with Railtown. I'm not being paid for Railtown. I own a small position because my account's been destroyed. But that's my call. Put it all into Railtown now. You won't have much more time to do it. And after Railtown goes up, take a deep breath. I think you're going to find out you don't want to sell Railtown. But if you do, you can go reestablish all those positions. But the one thing I don't want you to do is listen to Frank Benedetto, listen to Lion of All Trades, listen to Dan Borders, listen to Tony DeNiro, listen to any of these people that come in to turn your investment money into hot money, like you say, hopping from stock to stock to stock, because that's how they pick you off. That's how they fill their own pockets. As Ham told me, lay off, he's told me a year ago, lay off of Frank Benedetto. He's a good guy. I said, I think he works for the shorts. And he's just bullshitting. He pretends to have a huge investor. It's Tommy. It's your guy. What the hell? Well, he's a good guy. He's looking out for his family. And I said, well, I've heard that excuse before in my life. I don't have a family, so I can't look out for myself. And the people on my calls don't have families. They can't look out for themselves. Only Frank Benedetto's family matters. But when Railtown is worth money, I don't want you listening to those people because they know how to fleece you and they'll move you from stock to stock. And as you know, John, I've been up until recently, because I'm trying, what I'm learning is unless I'm specific, people go, well, I've been talking about silver now for months, year and a half, longer probably. I lose track of time. And I've been talking about silver stocks and things like that. I don't want you to move, switching one stock to the next. What I want you to recognize is GBUX is a manipulated stock. Finger is a manipulated stock. GTII is a manipulated stock. CRTD is a manipulated stock. MUL, all of these are manipulated. Yes, there's good people, but there's all the bad people. Who's going to win? What do you think? What do you think, John? You just don't get it. These stocks are being shorted, as we call it, counterfeited. It's legal. The system is legal for Wall Street to hypothecate, rehypothecate, and rehypothecate again and again and again and again. It's legal. What's not legal is all the collusion and breaking of securities laws, but they look the other way. And these gimmicks of let's issue a dividend, that was done with GTII. Did it work? I think it was working. But it didn't work for long because they brought Frank Benedetto in and the CEO and Lou with COSM. They did a dividend for Finger. Did it work? Yes, I think it was working. Warren is a dividend. But then they brought in Frank Benedetto and Lou and the CEO of COSM. And then that great savior from England with the dyed hair, with 3 first names, with Genius Brands came in. You don't see it because we buy in and we can't admit that we've been tricked. And I'm not blaming Ham. That don't misinterpret it. I think he's fighting against it. I'm blaming that whole system out there. It's just too much to fight. And Railtown gives you a chance to pull your ass away from that system. It gives you a chance for all those stocks you've lost money in. You can make back those losses and go green in your account, but it requires commitment. It requires action, and it requires action now. And you have to have enough shares of Railtown to make it occur. If you just buy, if you've got, I don't know your positions, but if you have tens of thousands of shares in each of these and you buy 5,000 Rail, that's asking a lot of Railtown to make all those losses up. But frankly, I can see a scenario where 10,000 shares of Railtown, it's going to take time. 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. It's going to take execution. It's going to take the macro AI 2.0 wave of capital coming in. But I think 10,000 shares of Railtown, if you just don't listen to Frank Benedetto, you don't listen to Tony De Niro, you don't listen to the day traders, and you hold it, and the stock gets sold to NVIDIA for over $100 a share, you're going to have $1 million in your account just from 10,000 shares. But you've got to buy it today, because 10,000 shares today cost you $6,000. 10,000 shares next week could cost you $20,000. I would still say it's worth $20,000. And I would still say you're not going to lose money if you buy it at $2 a share. I would still say you're not going to lose money at $5 a share for Railtown. I would still say you're not going to lose money if you buy it at $8 a share. I would still say you're not going to lose money at $10, $12, $15, $20. But there'll be volatility, and you won't buy as many shares. And then you'll be left holding these other stocks that you've already lost money in, John. You've already lost money in it. That's the hardest thing. This illusion that if you hold a stock, you won't lose money in it. You already lost money in it. Now, if GBUX is the one stock that's going to squeeze, GTII didn't, Finger didn't, CRTD didn't, ZJYL didn't, GDC didn't. But if GBUX is the one that is going to, don't sell it. But you better, in the middle of the squeeze, get your price, because it's going to pop, the bubble's going to pop, and it's going to come back down to low prices. Railtown's not like that, John. Railtown, you hop on board here with 10,000 shares, and it goes to $6, you got $60,000. It's not going to collapse on you. It's not, the bubble isn't going to pop. If it goes to $60 and you have 10,000 shares, you got $600,000. Now that might fluctuate up and down a bit for a while. Come down to $400,000, go up to $500,000, go up to $800,000. But eventually, that's going to go into the next level of value, and it might be worth $1.5 million, but it's not going to pop. It's not a gamble. I mean, it's speculative. I'm speaking of it all in terms of nothing's perfect. So things are possible. But I'm going to tell you one thing. Tonight, tomorrow night, next week, the following week, when they finally announce that they've closed that deal, I want to make sure, John, that I've been as specific and as clear as I can be. Sell the crap, buy rail, and do it now. I'm sorry, I got worked up. It's not directed at you, John, at all. It's just, I get very upset at what you guys are up against. You believe the system is fair. You believe Wall Street's honest. And you don't recognize these charlatans for who they are. And they're not just innocent, goofy charlatans. These are the devil himself. They're acting on behalf of the devil. And John, out of dozens of people on this call, I would love it if you made back your money in Railtown. But I can't make you do it. And if you want to, I mean, Railtown has more than doubled since it's what one guy here bought it at 22 cents when I started getting emphatic that Monday. But I started telling you Thursday the 5th because I had done what I'm telling you to do. And I was scared, John. I got nervous. Hell, GBUX is going to run, and I just sold it. Darn it! And you know, I even gave up the dividend. I kind of figured I might, although it said X dividend, but I just did it. And I sold Nixie, which to this day I'm worried that that stock's going to go up because of the revenues. But those are all gambles. Railtown, whilst it's speculative, I don't consider a gamble. You've got everything lined up in Railtown. And we'll go through the story again. Let me get through these messages. Brandon, why would you not buy Railtown? Yeah, exactly, Brandon. That's right. Bill Miko. This could be the last time, maybe the last time. I don't know. Oh, no. Yeah. The songs of our youth and the songs of our dotage. Raiden, good for you, Raiden. I didn't get upset with you, John, at all. It's just the frustration at the power of these people to steal. And we just got to break away from it. And this is the way to break out. And so silver, John, and platinum as well. Hey, Jack. YouTube user. Wow. Awesome. This may be the last time, maybe the last time, I don't know. Oh, you were singing, so I sing Waylon. Waylon. Yeah, I can't remember the words to Waymore's Blues right now, but my dad liked. He got a album from his brother-in-law one Christmas, Honky Tonk Heroes by Waylon. And my dad really liked that album. And one summer, well, anyway, I don't have to go through all that, but I liked it too. And I probably, I'm his eldest son, but my dad remarried, and so my brother gave the whatever it's eulogy at his funeral. But if it had come to me, I probably would have quoted Waylon. It's really Billy Joe Shaver. I spent a lifetime making up my mind to be more than the measure of what others could see. That's what I think my dad was. And he did very well. She stood beside me, letting me know she would be something to lean on when everything ran out on me. That describes his wife. She was that, is that. Fenced yards ain't whole cards, and like is not, never will be. Reason for rhymers and old five and dimers like me. That's how I think, even with all his success, that's how I think my dad lived and thought of himself and gave of himself. Giuseppe. Look at that. 50,000. And do you see that, Giuseppe? Because you established your position lower, you could keep adding, and your average is below the price today. That is good investing. Good for you. Good for you. I went ahead and dove in more, sir. Jack Hamilton. Crunch numbers and everything seems to live up in favor of Railtown. Sold some finger, bought more Railtown. All right, Jack. That's a fact, Jack. He is up to 49.5. Oh, did I tell you, Jack? Did I tell you? As of this morning, we have 6,150,874 shares. Did I tell you that? It's pretty impressive. Good job. You are a whale. 50,000 shares. If you can hang on to it, has a shot. I mean, look, there's time, execution, the overall market, how Wall Street invests, all of these things. But if you can hang on to 50,000 shares, you can retire. It's big numbers. That's why I don't want you. And I agree with John Quasson. I don't want people hopping from one. On the last call, you heard about this. These stocks all suck. They all suck except for Railtown and silver. And the next stock I bring to you. No, just joking. I'm trying to, make fun of myself. David, you don't think naked shorts are not listing? You are sadly. All right, so David, yesterday Sparky came in and suggested that you should chill. And I thought you were David, the truck driver. You're obviously a short. I don't care if the shorts listen, David. I really don't care. And you may say I'm sadly mistaken. My goal is to get this number spread out amongst as many of these people who have been hurt by you, so they make money and they get away from you. And then you, sir, if I should even call you that, are the one that will be sadly mistaken. Your strategy is not going to work in Railtown, David. It's not going to work in Railtown. The stock isn't up because of us, and it won't go down because of you. Just remember that, David. That's amazing, yeah. Marty Party, 120. I just put you down. Oh, I see you. Okay. That's great, Marty. Awesome. I do own Railtown, to be clear. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, good for you. Hey, June, good seeing you. Good morning. You give, I hope so. I think it is the right advice. I wouldn't be giving it otherwise. But we gotta play our hand too. Bobby De Niro giving Italians a bad name. I don't think he's Italian. I don't think he's. It's a fake name. Thank you, Lawrence B. I can't pronounce that one. Oh, yes, I can. A to Z, I can pronounce out loud. Hey, flying bus driver, how are you? That's huge. I think it's huge. You guys don't understand. That's great, flying bus driver. You guys just don't understand how important it is to buy it now. 31,000 shares is going to be huge as this stock goes up. 10,000, 1,000 shares. But the key is to buy it now when you can buy a bunch of shares. That's why I'm being such a DAC and being so repetitive. CB. CB. All right, CB. I think 10,000 is going to change your account. And the key is we're going to have to hang in and fight off all these devils that are going to want. This is going to, look, guys, we'll stick together. And by that time, I'll have a computer. You guys can join in. And maybe one of you will take over the role of the lead. But if this goes to $10, we have $60 million, and you can multiply it from there. They're going to want to come take your money. I don't want them to take it. I don't want them to take it. You're on my list, CB. You're on my list. Oh, he did? NVOS. Let me write that down. Look, what Frank does is he becomes an IR guy for a company. And then he gets, I believe he works with the shorts as well. So it's all it's all a self, you wash my back, I'll scratch yours type thing. But anyway, he gets the stock, gets us buying it. When his stock's free to trade, he gets out, and then he says, oh, you didn't sell? Oh, that's your due diligence. The stock was up. Guys, we just got to stay away from it. Let him do that. Let him do it. That's his skill. Let him do it, but not with us. This is the escape, and silver's the escape, and platinum. John pointed out platinum to you. But right now, this is the position we have to build. America Party, Uniparty, Party Hardy. Oh, it's greater than Uniparty. I don't know. I'll leave that to you, Maddie, because I think that's generational. And as a friend of mine told me, we each have to live in our own generation. I don't believe in a third party. We have a two-party system. It's been corrupted and destroyed. But the strength is to be with one party or the other. But I understand what you're saying. I understand. In terms of Elon Musk's objection to spending, he doesn't understand. He's a very smart guy, obviously. But the spending was going to increase. I mean, it's as compared to what? That bill as compared to what? Spending was going up anyway, because that's what the banks need. That's what the bond market needs. That's what our fractional reserve banking system needs. That's why the fractional reserve security system needs to attack Iran and Russia, because they need more collateral. It's ravenous, but it's a closed system. You got to expand the system. That's why we're going after asteroids and the moon and Mars. But the other thing to do is just change how we go about things and realize the banking system is not a benefit to the world. It doesn't help you or me buy a home, save for our retirement, is just a giant tick on the economy of the United States for a few men. Hey, Donna, John, I already own Rail. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. You want to be diversified. Well, if you want average performance, you can be diversified. Let me just put it again. Because I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to the whole audience. If you have 5 positions and you have 10,000 shares worth, 10,000 shares of Railtown worth of each position. So you have 10,000 shares of Railtown, and then you have the rest of the positions, each of which currently are worth 10,000 shares of Railtown. You hang on to those because you want to be diversified. I'll just be blunt. In a month, the 10,000 shares of Railtown could be worth 100 grand. The other ones, you're going to be diversified, all right. You're going to be diversified. They're just going to be sitting there. Instead, if you converted all of those 5 positions of 50,000 shares of Railtown right now, in a month or 2, it could be worth $500,000. Then you can diversify all you want. But diversification is a trap that these devils use to get you to move your money around. But Wall Street in general uses diversification. So you do managed money. You do ETFs. They want you to do average or worse. So they can bang the secretary and own the yacht and go to Stadt to ski, and go to Banff to ski, and go to you're just supporting their lifestyle. But anyway, I've already gone on a long time. I think it's a mistake, but I don't think this is a time to be diversified. I think this is a time to go all in on Railtown. Wow, Scott, you're up to 5,000. That's good. And by the way, John, when Railtown's $5 or $6, I don't think I don't know what I'll say. I reserve the right to still be adamant, but I don't know that I'll be as adamant as I am now, because people who have missed the chance. To be clear, John, Railtown is mispriced. It's the wrong price. Why? Because they came out of their R&D phase. They came out of their R&D phase of 6 years. They turned to commercialization, and they got interrupted. And in fact, the weird thing is, it kind of did this. A year ago, the research came out at 60 cents, and it pulled back, and now we're here still. So you're still able to buy Railtown at an R&D valuation, but it got halted just as they started selling their wares and telling their story, this movement up the valuation curve got halted. So it got halted for their own story. Because it got halted February 11th, their own story, as they go up the valuation curve and the logical buyer is NVIDIA or somebody like that. They had to stop here because they had to stop talking. And no buyers could come in. Okay, the battery down to 9%. So no buyers could come in on from February 11th because they announced the acquisition of AI Partners Network. So Railtown, which was headed, I think this year, into proving the concept and being bought out, all of a sudden it's in a stall because it's a quiet period. But you know what? Now they're adding on AI Partners, and the whole story just leapt to a higher level, this value creation before a buyout. Now this now may take 18 months, 2 years, 2.5 years. But John, you're buying down here. You're buying at the R&D valuation. And it's not about they're going to give a dividend and it's going to squeeze and all. It's none of that. But anyway, I've got to get through these because when I'm done with the messages, I need about probably 5 minutes, 10 minutes to myself. Ham just said, your broker are the only ones who know where your GBUX dividends are. That's true. He's accurate about that. Hey, Gary Maddle. Oh, there you go. That's John. That's what it is. It's approximate speed of light. 142 miles per second. All right. That's pretty cool. I'm in Canada, no warrants. Would you sell GNS? Yes, I would. I would get out of GNS. Yes, I would sell GNS, particularly if GNS is up, which I saw that it was up. Look, the pillar, if it keeps going up, to me, that doesn't make the decision the wrong decision. Let's see where GNS is trading right now. Piece of shit. It's been as high as 285 this year and as low as 21 cents. It's now $1.17. That's this year. But when you look at a chart, ugh, the destruction. But anyway, just ask yourself one question, Pilar. pillar. Ask yourself one question. Let's just pick. I'm gonna give you a date. I could be wrong, but let's say by October 15th. Where do you think GNS is going to be? I think Railtown. I actually think Railtown could be $10 by then, which is more than 10x, which is why I'm comfortable always increasing my number. So you just say which one, and I would take the losses in GNS, and then if this works, which I believe it will, we just won't talk about these companies anymore. Some might work, some might not, but it doesn't mean it's not gambling. It doesn't mean that this guy didn't take advantage of you. If you go to of course, I won't be able to read the number exactly, but if you go back, it's bounced up, but it won't stay up. Look, these are all destroyed by the shorts. They're all destroyed by the shorts. But if you look at when that guy came in, the stock was, I don't know, it's hard to tell. $80, $100 a share. It's hard to read, but something like that. Maybe more, but call it $100 a share. It's now $1. But it's up from 31 cents. So wow. But they'll sell that off. There's nothing magical about that idiot. He's got some contracts. And he's working with the shorts to raise money. His life is set. I'm trying to set your life. I'm trying to make your life set. So yes, I would sell GNS and buy Railtown today. I would do it today. Julius Kayam. There you go. Jack Reller just bought 2,600. All right, Jack, I'm writing it down. That's a good number. They're all good numbers. They're all good numbers. Stan added 10,000. Bravo, Stan. You're going to be another one of the Uber. I'm going to have to, when I talk to you guys, I'm going to have to call you ma'am and sir, and I'm going to have to schedule my times to have calls with your secretaries, because you guys are going to be elites and I'm going to still be a schlub, but I'll be content. I'll be content. John, you're the best, John. You're the best, John. I don't know how much you bought, though. That's all right. You don't have to tell me. You don't have to tell me. But I have your name. That's right. I'm trying to keep this running total, because this will give me a certain amount of leverage on your behalf when this transaction or others come along. And I haven't given my Jennifer disclosure today, but I don't have a contract with Railtown at all. Could I, in future situations, because of this, get something out of it? Perhaps, but I'd have to disclose that at the time. I may not either, but I'd have to tell you. I'd have to let you know. And maybe there's a way of, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but if we had a dedicated fund, or we acted a little bit as a group, maybe those kind of compensations could go toward a company or as part of a, I don't know. I don't know. it, it's hard to create ideas when you don't know what's on the table at all. So the way you're talking, if it's so corrupt, why stoop them from doing the same things? Is why stop them from doing this? Why will, I don't know, but you're saying, why is Railtown different? All right, let's go through it. Railtown was founded by two guys, basically. But there's a whole group of them, Marwan Haddad and Corey Brandolini. These guys have spent their career actually building things, creating value for society, unlike you. All you do is strip mine retail money so that you can go home and buy lobster for the weekend. If you're one of the shorts, I don't know. But they came up with the idea about 5-6 years ago to create an AI agent that would find software problems, fix them, and would maintain software and develop software, all efficiently, with speed, and without the need of a human being too much. And anyway, it's a 300 billion, according to his own video that I showed the other day. It's a $300 billion addressable market. And Railtown developed an AI agent early, so that they would be ready when the confluence of data center processing power and NVIDIA and et cetera, big chip processing power came together to make AI 2.0 a reality. And they're ready to go. They're ready to go. The biggest reason that you guys can't do anything to this stock is it's not in the hand of retail. Right now, retail can buy Railtown at good prices. And by the way, John, you're going to regret being diversified, but I'll leave it at that. You're pretty smart about platinum and other things, and you may already be very well off too. So they're ready to go, and I'm certain that Railtown is receiving a huge positive response to its conductor agent. They are merging now. Remember, David, AI Partners, which was founded by Ruffolo and the Omer's guys, CEOs of Omer's, they had the idea, let's get the best of the best AI private companies into a network, and then we'll roll them up into our parent company. They went through over 160 companies, and when they met Railtown and Conductor, they said, hey, why don't you buy us? Or why don't we merge with you? I think that's pretty good confirmation of how powerful Conductor is. So, David, the bottom line is this stock is on the over-the-counter market right now because Railtown decided to go into the United States market. It was a Canadian company. They don't need money. This is something that you guys are wrong about. Of course they need money. They raised money in a non-brokered transaction last fall. They just raised a tiny bit of money with a strategic investment partner, but they're not going to your friends at Lynn Partners. They're not going to your friends, the Kramers. They're not going to Yorkville Advisors. They're going to their own investors. And what you think is coming on here and quietly creating doubt, you're going to cause people to sell or not buy. And I'm trying to fight it with everything I can. But a guy like John cannot process. Well, fair enough. He can't process that he shouldn't be diversified. There's no diversification, zero diversification when you own GBUX, GDC, ZJYL, CRTD, COSN. There's no diversification. And if you believe Railtown's just one of those, I guess I can't blame you. But Railtown isn't one of those, David. Railtown is AI Partners does $400 million in revenue. Now those aren't all absorbed in the parent company, but the model is they're going to roll up those companies into AI Partners, AIP. Well, now Railtown's buying them, so that model is taken over by Railtown. And the reason I think it's been taking this long, they're not going to make the same mistake the CEO of Logic made. They're going to do what they said they're going to do. They're going to roll up the majority of the revenue before they let us know what's going on. That's my opinion. They haven't told me that, but that's my opinion. So you guys won't have the ability, like you did do, of selling the stock down so that when the CEO goes to connect the deal already agreed with the competing CEO, the stock's been destroyed, and the other one says, I'm walking away. You don't have that magical tool. It's not going to happen. Look at the stock. It's doubled. You don't have that tool. And they don't need to raise money from the crappy friends you have. They may do more strategic investments. I think I would, depending on revenue deals. By the way, David, they've already announced 2 revenue deals. They didn't tell us the revenue, but I'm sure that's just the beginning of companies, AI companies, software companies that are going to want to use Conductor. They're not going to need money. It's going to get out of control so fast. You're going to wonder why the hell did we ever short Railtown? We were rich already in our criminal activities, but it's going to bite you. It's going to hurt you a lot. Jason, all right. Harbinson, 2880 more. Okay, that's great. Awesome. Hey, Lauren's mom, you're my hero out of all of the people here, because you're Lauren's mom. And we all love Lauren. I don't know Lauren, but she's lucky to have you as a mother if you put her name in your handle. That's great. 1,400 is terrific. Oh, Donna. Wow, Donna. Donna is going to be, just like most of you guys, you're going to be unavailable when I'm going to have to schedule it with your private secretary, any call I have. But let's not, I'm talking about the bigger numbers because I don't want you to temporize right now. I don't want you distracted by the noise of these devils. I want you to make the commitment today. or tomorrow, might be the next day, might be Monday, but one of these days, attention, door closed at these prices. It'll still be worth it to pay more, but you won't get as many shares. And right now it's about getting as many shares as possible. Oh, you are the trucker. Yeah. I didn't know. All right. So I thought you were the short. There's another David that's the short. So I apologize. Yes, you are entitled to your opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't blame you for not trusting anyone. I, of course, almost trust myself. All I can say is I try to be worthy of trust, but I always let myself down particularly as I look back on my life. But yeah, you don't know me, David. You don't know if you can trust me. You're right. And then you don't know that you can trust Railtown. But I think you drive around, you see what's happening to the economy, and you've told us about it. I think this stock is a way to change our resilience to what is coming. And the first part of it is what I want everybody to participate in, because I am as close to certain as I can be that you will get a 10x. Maybe it's minus that, maybe it's 8x, or maybe it's more, maybe it's 15x, but something in that range over the next few weeks. It could be a couple of months, 3 months, I don't know. But if I had to predict, I'd say by September 1, you'll get a shot at 10x, give or take. I mean, if it goes to 4, I'll feel great. But if it goes to 10, I want you to know that I think that could happen too. Once it does that, you can go back to distrusting everybody and rearrange the deck. I don't think you're going to want to sell this stock once you're in it. And I can't picture any situation where I'm going to tell you to sell, unless I hope there isn't, but if there's some sort of short squeeze, we're just going to have to prepare for that when it happens. But David, I think not trusting everybody now, I think heaping on to this story all of the experiences of the last trades is going to deny yourself the ability. 10,000 shares of Railtown today cost $6,000. By September, it'll cost you $60,000. Could cost you $100,000. That's a nice move. It's a nice move, and that's why I'm staking my credibility, taking the time. I'm absorbing the negativity, because I think this stock is the way to heal a lot of the pain that we've all experienced over the last 3 or 4 years. And I think this stock is the way to get away from this. Because these whisperers and these bullshitters and, hey, this stock, it's just not the way where your money should be. It just isn't. I thought the reason I got convinced there was something here is I thought Ham had something with the short sale, the fighting the short sellers. And the initial, it's like, I'm not saying he did that, but it's like in any movie you see, like The Sting, they brought in Lanigan or whatever his name was. They gave him a win. They let him win once. and then he was hooked, and then he lost everything. That's, I think, how these guys do it. And for me, the learning curve has been, because I left the heart of Wall Street. You know, we started our own investment bank in London. I mean, that's what we called it, but you know, that's what it was. But I left before or contemporaneously with that change in the UCC under Bill Clinton. So I didn't know this. I don't think many people know it. They keep it hidden. But there used to be buy-ins and sellouts. So I thought, wow, this is a viable way to make some money. But I no longer feel that way. I think it's not only do I think it's gambling and a crapshoot, I think it almost certainly means you're going to lose your money. So it's even worse than going to the casino. I think all the odds are against, except here at Railtown. And so I didn't realize, David, you're not the short. The reason Railtown is different is bluntly is because AI 2.0 is going to change the world, and it's where all the financial focus is going to be over the next 18 months. And institutions who are smarter than you, smarter than me, are going to be buying this stock once it comes out of the restricted period. Right now they can't buy, so you can't see it, but it's doubled on volume. It's already 1 million shares almost today. So the tape is telling you what I can't seem to convince you. The tape is telling you. But you've never seen it before, because this is a real stock. These others are all manipulated. All manipulated. I don't think Finger was manipulated, but I was disappointed with the annual report, and I think Finger's going to be stretched out, and I think Finger's should have raised more money. So there's a real risk when Finger goes to try to raise money again. These shorts just keep at it. They just keep at it, and they just put it, it's just one of their losing positions, but then they have all these winners, but they keep at it, and they know eventually they'll win. How do you even know all these people have the shares they say they have? And but I've seen the tide has turned. No, I'm not turned on you, David. The way you put one of your questions up there, there was another David. He was blue as well when on my screen, and he was a short. You're not. I agree. I don't mind questioning, and you have a right to question. How do I not even know all these people have? I don't know it. I don't know it. But it's probably 130 people. So if it's not 6 million, what do you think it is? Nothing. You know. It could be more, by the way. I don't think everybody here is telling me what they have or that they have anything. So this number could be bigger. But I don't know. I don't know where that's relevant to whether you should own it or someone should own it. One should own it. But yeah, I don't know. You're right. I'm glad you're here, David. I'm not. I just mistook you for this other David that used to pop in, but I might have blocked him. You know, so sorry. I just didn't recognize you. The little symbols that come up on this screen now are different than the ones back when I was using the desktop computer. These are all very generic. So David, I just mistook you for somebody else, so I apologize. So now what? The American Party is an attempted Communist Party takeover. Elon is a self-proclaimed socialist. The Pilar, 33,000. The Pillar. That's awesome. That is awesome, Pillar. Yeah, that's why. So now what? It might be generational. The baby boomers, starting from the ones that rejected capitalism during the Vietnam War, all the way through to the younger baby boomers who respected authority, and even those aging hippies respect authority now, all benefited, and Warren Buffett benefited from the current financial system. The key was basically since the breaking off of the gold window for the dollar, basically since then. The key has been to own American assets, because oil wealth has been reprocessed into the United States of America and military might. And it's our banks which have benefited. And our banks have expanded from a tiny percent of GDP to a significant percent. More importantly, they've financialized everything. They have financialized everything. And they've concentrated their power, both, well, in many ways. I don't want to run through them all, but over their own clients, gathering assets together, but over the powers that be. And now the trillions of dollars created in debt, if you just take a portion of that every year, you're making men wealthy beyond anything ever heard before in history. Along with it, the baby boomers have benefited because they own houses. They got their college educations back when it was affordable. Their parents accumulated assets, so when their parents die, they inherit them. They own stock portfolios. They largely, although probably it wasn't such a white male-dominated economic environment, but largely they met an environment where it was white, maybe white women to some extent, and some minorities. But the economy benefited the baby boomers. And in the last sort of 4 years, housing has completely gone out of the realm of possibility for young people. Taxes have gone to the point you can't accumulate your own stake. Interest rates are so low, particularly in savings account, it doesn't make sense to save. Rent, massive. College education's worthless. Jobs are gone. Any job you get that could maybe get you to partner or to making money takes a decade, 2 decades to get the length of service. So younger people just don't have a stake, and that Social Security won't be there for them. Younger people just don't have a stake in this financial political system. They just don't. So that's why they're turning to Elon and socialism. They don't realize socialism doesn't work, but this ain't working. And they're also petrified, and I think they should be, about what planet are we going to have? Anyway, they don't have a stake in the current system. Pillar, that's great. Lawrence B. I like that name. So now what, David? He's just passionate and defenses. Yes, I agree with that, David, and thank you. It is hard to know. And I do get worked up. It's not directed at you, David. It really isn't. Although I did direct part of it because I thought you were the short. It's really, I get so angry at what's happened and those people. And I see an opportunity here that you can pull out of this. And I'm not sure there's going to be another opportunity. So that's why I'm pushing it so hard. Journeyman, my PL is open. Never practice diversification. Well, if you want above average results, you got to focus your ownership. And particularly when you know something, that's the time to do it. If you know something and you don't act, who do you blame? Can I explain why I think Railtown is not manipulated compared to the others? Yeah. Okay, I guess there's two sides to the manipulation. On the short side, I think Railtown is being shorted. I don't think there's any way in hell that we bought 6 million shares unless they were shorting it to us. Why? Because there's, if we go to Yahoo, and we look at Railtown, let me just find it. He's going to sink his presidency on Israel. It's a shame. Now, what did I want to look up? Oh, I know what I wanted to look up. The float. According to Yahoo. Okay, yeah. The float, according to Yahoo, is 100 million shares in Railtown on the U.S. side. I'm pretty sure, DB, but there's a level of trust in my conversations. I'm pretty sure I know where 50 million is in Canada. I don't know them personally, just in general. And then I know where there's another 30 to 40 million. And again, I know the tip of the spear of that. I don't know that I know it all. And then we've got 6 million. And then insiders have 20 million. So my arithmetic might be wrong. My information might be wrong. But to the people in Canada that have accumulated a position that's large, to the insiders that own it, to we, and to this one other group, I don't think any of those guys are sellers. None of them. So I do think there's manipulation in Railtown from the short side, but it's automatic. These guys think they're so smart that when Railtown announces in the headline on February 11th, Railtown announces Railtown AI Technologies announces MOU to acquire AI Partnerships Corp. They automatically think, you know what? We can start selling that stock downward. Two things are going to happen. One, we can bust the deal and leave the acquiring company bereft of investors because they're going to go, oh shit, the reason we got in it is for that deal. And then the Railtown, the acquiring company, will need money and the stock's down, and we'll go through Roth Capital and we'll destroy the cap table. Or we'll drive the price down, and then AI partners will say, wait a minute, you offered us 10 million shares to be acquired, but now we want 50 million shares, and we'll bust the deal. Same thing. The companies need money, the investors run away, the shorts make money. And the other way they do it is they look at it and say, oh, they're going to need money. They're going to need capital. They'll go through, I'm making it up, they'll go through Roth Capital, our buddies. Let's drive the stock down from 30 cents. Let's see if we can get it to 10 cents. And then we'll cross and we'll book a profit on our real shares sold, so-called. They're not real, but the ones that see the light of the day. And then on our other shares, we'll magnify the downward movement, because when we do the deal with Roth, we'll make sure there's derivatives language in the contract and there's warrants, and we'll drive it below 10 cents. And then if we're lucky, we can drive it like MULN into bankruptcy or MMAT. There's no closing position. We don't pay taxes, but we'll have the taxpayer pay for our onslaught of the Middle East, but we won't be part of those taxpayers, so we got a free ride. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I do think Railtown is manipulated by the shorts right now, but I don't think that's going to last much longer. They only have a handful of tricks. The bottom line is they have to keep selling. They come on here to create FUD. They work with investment banks to make sure that any good news on a per share basis is destroyed. None of that's going to work here. Right here in the news, 6 months ago, Railtown Technologies announces a closing of RLAIF, non-brokered private placement. I don't know what life means, but it's a non-brokered private placement. They didn't even go to Wall Street then. And then, unlike Tony, not so bright, he said that they tucked this in a paragraph right in the headline. Railtown, 20 days ago, Railtown AI announces strategic partnership with Quantum IQ and private placement. They did a small private placement. All right, so I acknowledge the shorts probably are manipulating. But on the Railtown side, you've got people here that have, it's 1:44. How many more comments? Let me, DB, let me answer this question after 2 o'clock. I should have stopped at 1. But I'm gonna, in 15 minutes, I'll leave you going here. But I've just got something I got to do. It'll take me 10 or 15 minutes, and then I'll come back on. Let me answer the rest of your question later. Ernest. All right, added 800. That's great. We are elite. No, we're elite because we're acting. You guys are acting. That's great, Eddie. That's great. We could end up with 10 million. I don't know if we're going to have time. I don't know if we're going to have time. I'm happy to be over 5. We're at 6 million. That's pretty good. Wolfie sold everything. 10,000 is great, Wall Street, Wolfie. And one good thing is if we wait, our circuitry is going to move away from the day trading aspect. And we're going to have to read the classics like Wind in the Willows or War and Peace or In the Garden of Eden, baby. We'll just have to fill our time with other things. Miami RN. All right. I heard nurses have a good time, but I don't know if that's true. But I tell you what, we cannot live without nurses. It's amazing the job you guys do. Amazing. You're not paid enough. Billy Cooper, MMTLP is over. I think so. Not Nextbridge, but Nextbridge has a tough row to hoe. But if you still own MMTLP, you'll never get anything. You got to transfer over to Nextbridge. But Nextbridge has they're attacking that massively. But yeah, I don't think I think the little shit that you have in your account, unless you have your shares at the transfer agent, whatever's in your account is false and it's worthless, in my opinion. And it's never going to be worth anything. Wow, gee, Diddy. Gee, Diddy. I hate it. You guys are going to be rich, and I'm going to still be here. But I love it. Gee, Diddy. That is awesome. All right, so I can go back to DB and try to finish answering. I just wanted to make sure I got to the end of the comments. The CEO, the founders of Railtown are not stupid enough to do business with Roth Capital in the way that some of Roth Capital's business is done. Some's probably done well. They're not stupid enough to deal with Lind Partners or Yorkville or the whatever the Kramers are calling themselves now. So you're not going to see that. So the manipulation that those kind of people do to other companies isn't going to happen with Railtown. Their raises do not have, for example, the last raise, which Tony DeNiro totally misrepresents to you, it was in the headline. It wasn't tucked in the middle of the last paragraph. But it also wasn't dilutive, particularly. When you raise money, you can focus on, you're issuing more shares. But you got to ask yourself, why? Why are you issuing more shares? What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with that relationship? And in this case, they placed 1,200 units. 1,200,000. That's less than 1% of the outstanding shares. So what's he going on about? He's just trying to FUD you. Now it's one share and 1/2 warrant. So 1/2 share as a warrant. So I guess you could say that's 1.8 million total. So it's about they have 140 million shares out. So whatever 1.8 million is of 140 million shares. At the time they did this, they had 138 million out. So it's certainly less than 2%. It's probably less than 1.5%. As he calls it, dilution, but they say it's a strategic investment. They don't define that because they're in a quiet period, but we don't know what the strategic investment will lead to. And they have a purchase warrant for 18 months. It doesn't go out longer than that, and it's exercisable at 75 cents. As far as I know, and I last time I looked, I couldn't find it. This doesn't have any of this derivative manipulation. I've been told it doesn't. I'd like to see it to know. So it's at 75 cents. And they did this at the market. I believe it was Canadian at the time, so these warrants are in the money now. But bravo. I wish I could have done that. Anyway, one reason is they're not going to let these lying financiers in the front door. The biggest reason, though, DB, is that, and I just can't get this across enough to people. When I first talked about Railtown, I understood the R&D phase. I understood that they're going commercial. And I understood that their partners, Microsoft, AMD, NVIDIA, are the natural buyers of the company after they prove that their process works. But then they're going to buy 160 companies in a network. They're not buying each company right away, but I think they're going to buy a percentage of those companies right away. We'll find out. This is my theory why it's taking so long. Because if you only buy one company, then the system can manipulate it against you. So you've got to buy enough of it at the price you want before you announce it, so that the system works with you. And anyway, this value creation is what's ahead of us. The question is, how long does it take to get to the max? But I don't think there's any question this first move is very quick. Very quick. They're not issuing a dividend. They're not trying to catch out the shorts. Unfortunately, there are shorts here, which I hate. It's all a fundamental story. And it's AI 2.0. That is distinct from all the AI you've heard about, ChatGPT and these other things that I don't even know, because it's the computing power has just jumped massively because of NVIDIA and data centers, to be simplistic. Now that capacity is there, they can use these AI agents to radically transform our lives. And what Railtown has done is created an AI agent that works within the company, not spread out all over the internet. And it's proprietary, it's self-learning, and it's first to market. On top of that, DB, the guys behind AI Partners they've done it all before. They've screened technology companies. They've acquired technology companies. They've put them in portfolios. They ran investment portfolios. But on top of that, one of the guys was initially one of the initial people behind quantum computing. It went from $1 to 5,000 Canadian. It took 10 years. It took over a decade. But that's the model they're following here. And this is high margin. With the one they did, it was smaller margin. So I guess I would boil it down to, it's a fundamental story that's massive. The macro story is huge, and there's going to be a wall of capital coming to these companies. I think the difference between Railtown and the rest of these companies is institutional buying after the quiet period is going to start. Now, the stock price has to go probably to $5, $7, maybe $10 before maybe some of the bigger ones come in. But I think all the way up, institutions, family offices, whales, people that understand AI are going to be buying in because they want to own this company because of its revenue growth. And then finally, the multiples on revenue are so high in this AI 2.0 space that the shorts aren't going to be able to keep it down. Bottom line, the short strategy of selling stock that doesn't exist, colluding with each other, having the SEC on their side, have attorneys protecting their ass as they drive down the price, bust deals, and then the company still needs to raise money. So they raise the money at a terrible price and they do a reverse split. None of that's going to happen here. None. They don't have that tool to use. They're going to try, but they'll break their screwdriver on the titanium. It's just not going to work. They can try the fudding, and they're trying shorting, hoping for the best. But DB, this is a situation where everything you've learned from Ham, everything you've learned at a cost in all these other stocks, we can make it up here because the shorts can't win. The shorts can't win. Let me tell you where the stock's going to go. In my judgment, as soon as they complete that deal, whether it's this week, next month, I think it's any time now. I thought it was any time. I actually thought it would happen in May, but June I thought, oh gosh, we're on borrowed time. But when it happens, I think the stock's $1.20. I think when it's $1.20, people start following it. More money comes in, maybe momentum players. I hope not. But at $1.20, it might pull back to 95 cents and then take a few days, and then it'll go to $1.20, go to $1.50. It'll get to $2, $2.25, pull back a bit. Somewhere in there, or maybe a little higher. I wouldn't be surprised to see another small strategic capital raise, but it'll be strategic. There'll be a reason for it if it happens at all. And then from $2, I think you'll start seeing margin buying in. I think you'll start seeing some brokerage firms that allow buying from retail. And I think you'll start seeing some of the smaller institutional funds and family offices being able to buy. As it goes to 3, 4, that will kind of accelerate. But in that space, there might be a little backing and filling. I don't know. But I think there's going to be a scramble from the Wall Street types who want to own AI ready to go, which I think Conductor is, before they start raising money this fall from their brokers to put their clients into ETFs, into mutual funds, into limited partnerships, into retirement plans, just managed money. I think they're going to jump the gun on top of each other. Once it hits $5, which is the Merrill Lynch rule, and I think that's a key threshold for a lot of institutions, I think Railtown goes to somewhere between $10 and $15. Once it's in that range, I would expect either the shorts get in trouble and maybe there's a little bit of a squeeze. I hope not. I don't want to deal with a squeeze, but if there is, we'll deal with it. But maybe if it gets to 10 or 15, maybe there's a pause for the cause. Maybe they raise money, or maybe people are sated and they've got to digest what they've bought, and maybe it pulls back a little bit for a while. I'd be scared to trade that, because I think once you sell, you may not be able to get back in, because I think Railtown's headed to much higher prices, and it's going to be supported by institutions, family offices, wealth advisors who know AI. They know the story, they understand the revenue, and I think Railtown's going to be supported by its revenue, and the shorts aren't going to make any sense. They're going to be squawking their, oh, going concern, and oh, a YouTuber, and I wouldn't concentrate my, they're going to be trying all that. None of it's going to work. They're going to look foolish. All right, added 800. Oh, I already did that. 1% is 1.38 million. All right, so it's a little bit more. Ralph Fan, okay. Um, 65,000. I know Giddy is impressive. Here's the story about you and Ham. Here's a little ditty about Jack and Diane. I don't know. I think I'm a bit of a arsehole. And I think Ham can be a real softie. At certain, Stan says at certain prices, they'll list on NASDAQ or New York. I hope they skip Adina's, abattoir called NASDAQ. But I think Railtown is going to quickly fit into the category like a Tesla or one of the other big companies out there, where the one ingredient that's missing to fight the criminals down in these low price stocks, there's no investment bankers, there's no trading desks, there's no natural buying, there's no accumulated cash that wants to buy in, and there's no research reports, there's no conversations with management, there's no staying in touch with revenue, none of this stuff. So the shorts can destroy, but not with, I don't think with Railtown. At some point, regardless of where they go, as they attempt to sell it off, they're going to run into buying, whether it's, I don't know. I bet Omer's buys the company. But I would prefer the New York Stock Exchange to NASDAQ. But ultimately, it's not about the exchange. Ultimately, it's not about anything except that the big pools of money, they get a fair deal because they pay for it. They pay for people to pay attention to the stock, and when it gets cheap, buy more. With a lower stock, when we're trading these other stocks thinking Wall Street still works, it's like voting for Trump versus Biden. They're both going to support Israel. They're both going to support the madness of starting a nuclear war with the Soviet Union. Why? Because our foreign policy is controlled by Mossad. The Epstein files are going to disappear. P. Diddy is going to get off. If you're protected, you're protected. Oh, wow. I'm sorry you lost a brother, G. Diddy. I hope as this works, you can see this as your brother, like he's still there as your friend, your brother, providing for you. All right, Steve Martz added 1,500. I do get fired up, and I regret, I didn't mean to offend David. Yesterday, I thought it was David, the, let's say, truck driver. This morning, I just thought, wait a minute, maybe I'm wrong. So I apologize for that. I don't mean it, other than the shorts, I don't mean to hurt anybody here. I just, yeah, I could do better. I could do better. So I'm going to turn off the camera, turn off the sound. I've got to do something for about 10 or 15 minutes, maybe a little longer. I'll leave this running so you can communicate. But let's say I won't come back until you know what? I might just say I won't come back till 3 o'clock. Is that okay? I'll take that much time off. I'll come back at 3 o'clock. Let's look at how the prices are. Railtown is 60 cents by 60.75, 1.02 million shares. GNS is down at 108. GTII is 12. Tesla's up 8 at 302. Fingers up 2 cents at 199. Are you out of your mind? And that Wolf Speed, which is bankrupt, is 258. I would get out of that. You know, that was a nice trade if you did it, but I'd race out of the door there. Shareholders will get, it's just bankruptcy. Shareholders are last in line. Anyway, let's just look at Railtown one more time. Now it's 59.46 to 60. Maybe I'll cut the channel. That's what I'll do. Maybe that's what I'll do. Let me sign out and I'll come back on at 3 o'clock. That's a good idea. So thanks for everybody. Let me just emphasize, I don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow or the next day. At some point, you're not going to be able to buy Railtown under $1. So just bear that in mind. I think you should commit everything. I think you should commit everything without giving financial advice to Railtown now. Anyway, thank you to everybody. I'll come back on approximately at 3 o'clock. Cheers.